Hi everyone. Today we're going to be joined by Peng, who is a current student in education and math, and he is currently studying on the Thunder Bay campus, and he's from China. So we'll give him a minute to join. In the meantime, if our viewers wanted to let us know where you're from, I always encourage folks to send their country documents, and I love to see where all of our viewers are joining from. So we're just meeting up with Pang right now. He's just connecting, and then we'll get going.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me today, and I'm excited to chat more about your Lakehead experience and whatnot. First things first, I'll introduce myself, and then I'll pass it off to you. For those of you who haven't joined before, my name is Jordan. I work for Lakehead University. I'm the International New and Social Media Officer, but I'll pass it over to Pang to introduce himself.
Hello everyone, my name is Peng. I'm from China. Right now I will start my third year education life in Lakehead University.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. And to help our viewers get to know you, I always encourage our co-guests to kind of share a fun fact. And I know we chatted about this a bit before, so can you share a fun fact about yourself?
I'm really like cooking, making friends. I like learn how to cook different styles of food, and I want to start a new technology for Indian food right now.
Awesome. And diving into the cooking a little bit, what sort of meals do you typically cook? Do you cook family recipes from back home or all sorts of different recipes that you've picked up along the way?
I will pick some family recipe, but also I will search from the internet.
Awesome. So one of my first questions that I always ask students is, what made you want to study abroad in Canada to start off, and then what made you pick Lakehead University?
Like we know Lakehead University is a good university for education, exactly for the math and my major, the education. I want to become a teacher, so it's a great choice to choose Lakehead University.
Awesome. And just to give the audience a bit of background, when you were back home in China, what school were you attending that now was a nice segue into the education here at Lakehead?
Oh, like my high school is Maple Leaf International School, and it's a like part-time high school experience with Lakehead University. They make education, the major for education and mathematics. It's like teamwork.
Awesome. And speaking a bit more about what made you want to study abroad in Canada in general, do you remember back to when you were making that decision, what some of the things you were most excited for within Canada?
The most exciting part is the environment for Canada. It's great. For me, I like studying math, and also I want to become a math teacher, so I chose State University to start my university life.
Awesome. Um, and then diving a bit more into kind of the journey to Lakehead. Obviously, you've narrowed it down to Canada, you've narrowed it down to Lakehead, you've applied, been accepted, all that. Speaking to when you were actually packing your bags to travel to Canada and travel to Thunder Bay, what were you most excited for?
Oh, for me, the most exciting part is traveling with my friend.
Okay,
And it's like a 15 hours traveling time. I need to stay in the seat, and I will talk with my friend, and even I will play some games with him. This is most exciting part in the whole trip.
so you got to travel with a friend from China back to Thunder Bay for the entire journey. What was that like? What was some of the favorite things that you did in that trip?
For me, the most exciting part is eating the food. We travel from the Hong Kong to Canada, so we can taste some Hong Kong style food.
For sure. Um, pardon me. And was there anything else that you were really excited about to study in Canada?
Uh, like the Lakehead University is stay in a quiet place. so I can enjoy the study environment. The atmosphere is pretty good. Exactly the library in the university is pretty
Mhm.
quiet. Exactly the second floor. Because for the first floor, we can talk about our assignments and the test, but for the second floor, we can study by ourselves.
And what do you think is why do you think having like a quiet study space or a dedicated study space so important to your success at Lakehead?
Oh, for me, I don't like others annoying when I study my tasks or assignment. I will do the question by myself. I like think like a math question. I will do it by myself, use different technologies. But for some of my friends, like talk about one question at their own way, and they can check the answer.
For sure. And I know you mentioned to me when we met before that you made a really good friend from Russia who who you typically like to study with, and you guys teach each other stuff. So would you want to speak to that a bit?
Oh, I have a friend. He's from Russia. His name is Ferzali. He's exactly really good at the biology and chemistry, but he's poor at studying mathematics and physics. So I will teach him some math questions. We will talk about types of the quiz and even some assignments. And he will teach me some the symbol for the chemistry. And he wants to study the Mandarin.
So obviously, you being the math major and having that background knowledge, you can share that information. But then him coming from a science background, he's able to help you with the science aspect, and so you guys have that sharing knowledge. You also mentioned to me earlier that you have taught each other a bit of each other's languages. Can you speak a bit about that too?
Oh, he has studied Mandarin in his primary school, and I'm really interested at his language. So we just talk basic for the like the hello, bye bye, and have a great night like that. The
For sure, yeah.
simple technology.
Yeah, covering the basics of Mandarin and Russian.
Yes.
Obviously, not diving too far in because you have to focus on your other courses. And then speaking also to when you were making that same journey to Canada, obviously you were excited about meeting new friends, excited about the travel itself. What were you maybe nervous about?
Oh, for me, uh, it's really not exciting. Just living with your family. You need to live by yourself, study by yourself, live in a different environment. So this is a big trouble for me. But also, um, I did not feel too nervous because I go with my friend. So I feel pretty good.
For sure. And then speaking about being nervous about living on your own and being away from your family, how do you think you've been coping so far? Have you enjoyed that? Are you excited about that? Have you gained new skills and all sorts of things?
I enjoy the moment that I live with my family because I can like live myself and even cook for me. And it's an enjoyable moment. Yeah.
For sure. Um, and then diving a bit into your academics, obviously, so you're studying a concurrent degree in education as well as math. So for our viewers that aren't familiar with that, a concurrent education degree is when you're both pursuing an undergrad in education and an undergrad in math, or one of the many, many subjects that you could major in or minor in technically too. Are you going to do intermediate senior or primary junior for your education?
Uh, I will do my primary junior for my education part. Like in university, we need to study lots of different subjects like geology, chemistry, physics, and we need to choose our like a second teachable. So
Hmm.
I need to study physics also.
For
So
sure.
like we need to study different subjects in order to finish our required class, and we can choose whatever we want. Because in the third year, there's a lot of like free class for us to choose.
Awesome. And then also speaking to kind of what made you want to pick those teachables, picking math. Do you remember what your dream job was as a child?
Oh, when I was a child, my dream job is become a teacher. I like to teach others. I like share my own knowledge. It's really exciting because for the next year I can have like a placement in a high school, so I can teach students. Or maybe it's not high school; it's a primary school. Like I can work with the teacher.
Awesome. So now clearly I can see that as a child you already had the dream to become a teacher and you're pursuing that dream and you're halfway there now, going into third year basically. Um, Speaking a bit about kind of where does your passion for math and physics come from or where does it lie?
And for the maths, I like maths because I like solving problems, and most of maths questions I can do the questions behind the book and I check the answer by myself. But there's also some like tricky questions I need to ask my teachers, and most of them will answer the questions step by step. So I really enjoy the moment that I make an appointment with them and they can answer my questions.
For sure. And that's a really good segue into kind of the next topic as to why you like your program or what do you like most about your program. So I'll let you
Oh,
expand on that a bit more.
for the most exciting part, I enjoy the moment that I study with my classmates. Most of them are really knowledgeable, and for the teachers, they are really good for the understanding questions, and I can ask whatever I want.
And I know that you mentioned beforehand is the fact that you really enjoy the teaching style and how the professors break down the solutions and they teach you how to solve the problem versus just giving you the answer. Could you explain how maybe the teaching style has benefited you?
Oh, for me, in the past, when I back to China, teacher will just give me the answer, and I need to answer the question by myself. Like I need to know the steps, how to solve one math questions. But here, for my second year mathematics class, the teacher will answer my questions step by step. They will ask me which part did not understand, and it's a great way to for me to understand the questions. Um, I can ask the teacher or the counselors whatever I want about the math questions. I can ask even the different subjects.
For sure. And then also speaking to one of your favorite courses in the program, do you have a one in mind that just stands out as being your favorite thus far?
Oh, it's like I think it's a physics part.
A physics course?
Yeah, physics course,
And what did you like most?
and also the education 1050.
So what did you like most about first the physics course, and then what did you like most about the education course?
Okay, for the first course, we can do the lives, and the teacher will have a tutorial after class. He will answer most of our questions, and for the education part, teacher would make discussion every day, and I can work with my classmates and start a teamwork. Um, I can still remember the first day the teacher like to put our technology and students into different groups.
And then speaking about the education class, what was, or sorry, did you cover the education class?
Yes, I covered the education class.
So what was your favorite about the physics class then?
Oh, for the physics class, I think it's the lab.
Oh, the labs. Okay.
Yeah,
So with the physics class, you really enjoyed the labs and the that hands-on aspect, and then with the education class, you said that you enjoyed the teamwork and
the
the
discussion
focus
part.
on discussion within all of your classmates. Could you speak to why that discussion and that why that teamwork is important to you?
Oh, okay, because I want to become a teacher, and it's the first year class for education. The teacher will like give our some jobs to answer, and he will show our different styles of education. So different group will have different subjects to do. So we need to discuss why this style is greater than other style.
For sure. So there is a question in the comments right now. Are you a graduate student or a postgraduate student? So technically you're an undergraduate student, which
Yes.
means you're pursuing your bachelor's degree right now. Um, do you have any plans after you graduate to potentially go on to do a master's of education or some sort of a postgraduate degree?
Oh, I will start the master degree.
And then once you have your master's, you'll probably start teaching in the classroom?
I will like after this honor bachelor, I will like have a job for 1 year. After the 1 year, I will go to another country, start my master degree. Maybe it's math. I think it's math because I enjoy studying math.
For
And
sure.
for the next year, I will start my third year in Lakehead University.
Awesome. We have a question here from an audience member, and the question is, how did you feel about the first year? So,
Oh,
could you talk about your first year experience?
for me, the first year experience is like nervous because I start a different language. My mother language is Mandarin, and I need to speak the English. But I had a great teacher. She is my academic writing teacher. She will answer my questions. She's really like a gentle to ask questions. How do I feel about class? How do I feel to live in the university? So after the first term, it's the first four term, I enjoy to start my life in the Lakehead University. I did not feel nervous anymore.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that the teacher kind of went out of her way to make sure that you were successful in that class and that you excelled within the academic English or the English writing. We also had another question from a viewer. What is the plan for fall 2020 term? Is it going to be online for all students, including international students? So I can speak to that a bit. We did recently announce that Lakehead University is looking at a primarily online and alternative method of delivery for courses in fall 2020. So what that means is that majority of our courses will be offered online, primarily online. There may be alternative delivery methods for certain courses, and we are looking into what that exactly looks like. I can tell you that our senior management team here at Lakehead is working really closely with all of the deans of each faculty, all the program coordinators, all the professors and faculty and staff members to ensure that when fall does come, we are fully prepared to offer courses that ensures the health and safety of our faculty, staff, but most importantly, our students. And the second part of the question was, does that include international students? So yes, this will be for all Lakehead students. The delivery method will be across the board for all students. Right now, of course, each faculty, each program coordinator, each chair is working on the specifics of what courses will look like in that alternative delivery method. And we do hope that they'll be communicating with their applicants and with their students in the coming weeks. So we do encourage you to monitor your Lakehead email because they will send further communications in there as these sorts of decisions are made. I also encourage you, if you would like to join us for some of our other live events. Each Wednesday we are joined with the undergraduate and graduate admissions teams. And we also answer questions about your application and admissions related questions. So diving back into some other questions, we have another one. This one is, why did you decide to study in Canada and how can I get a scholarship for Lakehead? So I'll let you answer the first part and then I can speak to the second part.
Okay, I still got the scholarship.
Pardon me?
I still have the scholarship, the entrance scholarship.
So you got an entrance scholarship in your first year coming to Lakehead and you've been able to keep it while you've been studying here as well.
Yeah, I keep it for 2 years and I will still get it for the next year. So I know exactly how can you get the scholarship.
Awesome. And for the first part of her question, why did you decide to study in Canada? I know that we covered this, but could you summarize it once again just for
why study in Canada? Because Canada is a multicultural country. You can make different kind of friends. They're from different country, and for me, I like to taste different style of food. So I want to make different friends from different country, and I also want to study the many languages. Like I had a friend who is from Moscow and one friend from Russia, and even I have found friend from Korea. So I not right now I speak maybe five. So how can I get a scholarship?
So
For
I can answer that just to
okay.
do both undergrad and grad, but then I'll also ask you as a follow-up. So you can start thinking about this, like, why has the scholarship been important in your academic success? How does it help you pay for your education? All that sort of stuff. But first, I'll explain. So if you're pursuing undergraduate studies here for Lakehead University, we do have a scholarship grid. So what that means is that they are academic-based scholarships or merit-based scholarships, and students between certain averages can get different amounts of money that will then apply towards their tuition and student fees. So with that, once you actually achieve the scholarship, it will be applied directly to your account, and you don't have to do any extra application for it. So it automatically applies to that account, and you are automatically assessed for that scholarship when you do apply to Lakehead. For graduate students, we do have limited opportunities for funding through graduate assistantships, but also faculty research scholarships. Because there's such a wide variety of them and they are very specific. I do encourage you to visit our website. If you go to lakeheadu.ca/international, there's a future student tab, and then you can learn more about the scholarships and awards that are available. And there's a direct link to the graduate funding page as well, where you can learn all about graduate assistantships, faculty research opportunities, all that sort of stuff. Um, Passing it back to you, Peng, um, what has the scholarship been able to do for you? Have you been able to focus more on your studies because you haven't had to work? Why has the scholarship been important?
Oh, like scholarship, like a huge amount of money in the university, and I can use it to pay for my study, for my food, and even for my living. So I think if you get a scholarship, it's a great choice to come to university, and because you can keep it year by year. Like if you achieve the GPA that you need, they will keep your scholarship for the next year.
Hmm. Yeah, and also to add on to that, thanks for reminding me. With our undergraduate scholarship grid, students are do have the option in some cases to renew that scholarship. So it's a renewable scholarship. So after their first year, they have the potential to continue getting that same scholarship year two, three, four, and beyond. But of course, there are certain requirements that they must meet for like merit wise. You can learn more of those details, like I said, on lakeheadu.ca/international. If you click the Future Student tab and then on the scholarship button, you'll learn all about that. Now, diving into another topic that I know we chatted about is the broad overview of student life. And I know that you lived on residence in the apartments for your first year. Can you speak about that experience and what some of your favorite things were?
Okay, for the first year, I live in the residence, and it's a south apartment. Like Lakehead University have two different apartments and lots of townhalls, but I chose to live in the apartment. Because the president in the apartment will make lots of interesting games and some meetings. We have the movie night. We can go outside, outdoor playing. We can climb in the mountain. And I still remember we watched Harry Potter and Iron Man, maybe a Spider-Man in movie night. Each week we will have a different, like a party. You can watch TV, watch games, play games with your friends in the like a meeting room.
For sure. And then also speaking a bit about those activities, I'm curious, did those activities help you meet your friends that you have today? Or what was the most important benefit of those activities also?
Well, because you can, it's benefit not like playing every week, because the apartment is really close to school. It's not like waste your time to go to school. So I think it's great try to live in the apartment. Um, and also you can make different friends from different country. The first year I live the friend with Tong, he's from China, and two other friends, one is from Russia and one is from Moscow, and we can become friends right now. And you can cook in your apartment. So I think it's a bad choice to live in the apartment for the first year.
Awesome. So we have another question from a student. Can I change my campus of Thunder Bay to Aurelia after 1 or 2 semesters or terms, they said? So that's a great question. The answer to that is very specific to each student. So it depends on what program you're pursuing at Lakehead, if that program is offered at both campuses, of course. For example, if you were to pursue a program at the Thunder Bay campus and the same exact program is offered at Aurelia, that change is actually quite easy. And you can enroll in classes in Aurelia and continue doing that. If the program's only offered in Thunder Bay, there is no option to study a Thunder Bay program at distance from Aurelia in most cases. So I do encourage you, if you are looking into that option, connect with us directly, send us an email at welcome@lakehead.ca, and we'd be happy to look into that further for you. So I'm just typing out our email address in the comments right now. So I just posted it there. So it's welcome@lakeheadu.ca, and you can send us a direct email, and we'd be happy to look into that further for you. So back to some of the other questions I have for you. Speaking to your involvement in extracurricular activities, so on top of already attending plenty of events in residence, what do you get to do in your free time at Lakehead?
Okay, for my free time, I will go to gym with my friend, and I also will study in the library. And that's all I can do. And sometimes I will enjoy the food in the restaurants. For the cafeteria, I will enjoy the subway, and that's all.
For sure. And speaking a bit about the gym, what do you like most about the athletic facilities on campus?
Oh, we have two parts for gym. The one is the training room, one is like the football area. For the training room, I can do lots of exercise. I can play the badminton. For the other place, I can play frisbee with my friend, and we can even play some soccer games with different friends because there's lots of teams they will train, and we can join them. Just play a few part.
And then also speaking to, you mentioned the library too. What do you like most about the different floors of the library and the different opportunities available there?
Or for the library. The library, I think is we have the 5 floors for the library. For the first floor, we can talk, but for the second part, we need to be quiet. So if I want to talk some questions, I will use the first floor. But if I want just study by myself, I will use the second floor. And for research, I can use the third floor. There's a lot of books in the third floor, and
For
I
sure.
can ask the library reporters to help me to find the book.
And then also speaking to maybe when you're using the first floor, are you typically meeting with groups in the library to study? Are you meeting with professors or tutors, or what does that look like?
If I want to talk about my professors, I need to make an appointment for the hot the room, what's that, the quiet room. We can answer and ask some questions in the room. And for if you just want to talk about with your friend, you can just use the area in the first floor.
Awesome. So we have another question from a viewer. They would like to know if international students can study nursing or apply for nursing at Lakehead University. And the answer is yes. We're really proud to offer our nursing program to international students. Of course, all of our applicants must meet the admission requirements. But I do know that compared to other universities in Canada, ours is not restricted at all for who the applicant is. So if you are an international student, you're interested in nursing, I certainly encourage you to apply. If you would like to learn more about the nursing program, we actually just met up with the faculty of nursing last Friday at one of our other live events. And for an entire hour, we dove into what the nursing program looks like, what first year looked like, what placements looked like, all that sort of stuff. And it was a really great conversation. I myself learned quite a bit. And I know that lots of our viewers were really impressed with our offerings for the nursing program. So another question, what programs does the scholarship cover? So if you are an undergraduate student applying to a Lakehead University program, that's an undergrad program, of course, the scholarship does not have any limits to which program you're applying for. It covers all of them. There are, of course, specialized scholarships for our partnership with Lakehead Georgian. Georgian College is in Barrie, and we have a joint partnership with them where students actually do they receive their diploma from Lakehead Georgian or Georgian College, and they receive their degree from Lakehead University. We have a little more specialized scholarships for those programmings. But like I said, if you visit Lakehead University, lakeheadu.ca/international, you can learn all about those scholarships online. And something else that I know you chatted with me about is one of your favorite things to do in Thunder Bay is going to the ice hockey games. Can you chat a bit about that and why you like it so much?
Oh, there's lots of ice hockey games in the winter. If I want to watch an ice hockey game, I can go with the residents present, but I can also go by myself. I can just get a ticket and watch the game. Like it's really exciting to watch the hockey game because two team is like a soccer game, but they will use the holders. What's like
Like they have sticks and pucks.
the sticks and the pucks, and they can get the point if they touch the net. So it's really exciting to watch the game.
And so I know you mentioned that that was your first experience with ice hockey. Um, in Canada in general, back home you hadn't seen that before. Can you kind of explain when you're actually at the games and you're sitting with all your friends and cheering on our Thunderwolves, what that feeling is like?
Oh, it's really exciting and interesting to go with your friend. It's a new style of a sport, and different people will try to get a point. When one team gets a point, everyone will yell, and it's really cheer me up.
Awesome. So we have another question. How do you know about individual eligibility and scholarships? So our scholarship grid is the Canadian equivalent. So they are percentage based. So for example, if you have between an 80% and an 89.9% Canadian equivalent, you will receive a certain amount of funding or as a scholarship, and then you will also be eligible for that same amount of funding in a renewable form, provided, of course, that you meet the requirements. So for the question, how do you know about your individual eligibility? If you do a general conversion between your grades to Canadian averages, you should be able to get an idea. But like I said, if you are an undergraduate applicant, your application will automatically be assessed for the scholarship program, and our Student Awards and Financial Aid Office will communicate any scholarship offerings to you directly as well. They typically go out with our offers, or if we send out our offers before they've had a chance to do the scholarships, then we will also send you an updated offer with that scholarship attached. So my last couple things that I wanted to chat with you about today is, what advice would you give to future international students?
For the ones, you should not be nervous, and you can go with your friend for the long traveling. For maybe the first month, you will feel nervous about class because there are so many classes. For the first year, I started like 5 classes in the bottom, and I feel really nervous about the mark for the class. But you can talk for the mark with your teachers. They will be fine.
Awesome. And also speaking a bit about your mention that traveling to Canada with a friend was something that you really enjoyed. If you head over to our Facebook page, which is Lakehead University International, on that page we already have a group started. It's called the Incoming Class of 2020 for Lakehead University. If you request to join that, you have to answer a few questions just so we can verify you are an applicant and you are admitted to Lakehead. And then you can actually be admitted into that group and you can start meeting your future classmates. You can make friends. You can meet people back in your home country. And I wanted to tie this in because if you start meeting people from your own country, there is definitely the possibility that you could connect with them and potentially travel together at the same time. And you're already establishing those friendships. I myself have been monitoring that group, and I've seen lots of great conversations and lots of peer support happening. So I certainly encourage our viewers to head over to our Facebook and join the incoming class of 2020 for Lakehead University. Awesome. So we have one last question that was sent to us on our story. This is an interesting question. So during your stay, what have you found to be like one of the hardest parts, and how have you overcome that?
Okay, for me, the hardest part is the English class because I cannot get a high GPA for it, but I can got like 90 to 100% for my math class. So they will achieve the average mark to 80 and even higher than 90. So for the first class, I just got 7.77 out 100 for the first assignment. So I feel really nervous. It's hardest time, but the teacher asked me how do I feel, how can I improve the mark. So I passed this terrible period. That's it.
And I know you mentioned that one of your teachers kind of went out of her way to help you excel within the English course itself and kind of learn on that. Can you maybe speak about your interactions with professors and access to professors, given that we obviously try and provide small classes?
For I start most classes like small class, but for some math class is like a big room with many students. But for the most small classes like English and education, they will just only have 20 students in a small class, and teacher will know your name. He will ask questions, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And it's really enjoyable to study with the teacher. They will answer the question when they have their time. But you need to make an appointment by the email. Just need to send an email and they will answer the question.
For
That's
sure.
it.
Can you maybe speak to just slightly why it's important to you to have access to your professors and be able to ask them questions in class and also connect with them via email after when you need help?
If you have questions in the class, I think I cannot answer the question, ask the questions in the class because it's knowing the other students. I will ask questions after class, wait for the teacher and ask my questions. If I have any questions, I will send him an email and make an appointment. If they have free time, they will like go with me to the first floor for the quiet room. And it's enjoying and it's really important for me to ask questions because if you just want to know any questions, you need to ask teachers, and most teachers will answer my questions.
For sure. Well, I wanted to say thank you once again for joining us today. We've covered quite a bit. We dove into your journey from China to Thunder Bay. We chatted about what you were excited about, what you were nervous about. We answered quite a few questions from many of our viewers as well. And then, like, we just covered kind of the student life and why it was so important for you to join these activities and head out to all these sorts of events. So thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. And to our viewers, I hope that you're able to join us tomorrow for our Wednesday weekly admission update with undergraduate and graduate admissions. Otherwise, I'll say bye for now and thanks again for joining us.
Bye bye.
Bye.